Emotions are one of the most powerful forces in the human experience. They shape our decisions, determine our actions, and ultimately define the quality of our lives. Yet for most people, emotions are not something they control. Emotions control them. They wake up feeling good and the day goes well. They wake up feeling off and suddenly everything seems to go wrong. They let circumstances dictate their mood, and in doing so, they give away their power. But here's a principle that changes everything. You must learn to master your emotions, or they will master you. This is not a suggestion, it's a necessity. Because if you do not take control over how you feel, then external forces, other people, unexpected challenges, fleeting circumstances, will take control for you. And once that happens, you are no longer the driver of your life. You are just a passenger reacting to whatever happens next. Now, let's break this down. Why do most people struggle with emotional control? The answer is simple. They have not trained themselves to separate feeling from action. They assume that if they feel something, they must act on it. If they feel angry, they lash out. If they feel sad, they shut down. If they feel frustrated, they quit. But emotions were never meant to be the decision makers of your life. They were meant to be signals, indicators of what's happening inside you. Imagine this, you're driving down the road and your check engine light comes on. Do you immediately panic and pull over, refusing to go any further? No. You assess, you take a moment to think, maybe you keep driving and address the issue when necessary. This is exactly how emotions should work. They show up, they give you information, but they do not control what happens next. You do. The problem is, most people do the opposite. Instead of seeing emotions as signals, they see them as commands. And because of this, their lives become unstable. One day they are motivated, the next they are discouraged. One day they believe in themselves, the next they feel like they are failing. They ride the emotional roller coaster without realizing that they could have been the ones steering all along. So, how do you break free from this pattern? How do you become the kind of person who stays calm when others panic, who keeps moving when others freeze, who remains steady even in the face of difficulty? The answer is discipline. Emotional control is a discipline, not a talent. It is something you develop over time, not something you are born with. Let's take a look at some practical ways to master your emotions. 1. Understand that emotions are temporary. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that how they feel in the moment is how they will always feel. But emotions are like the weather, constantly changing. One day, you feel unstoppable. The next, you feel stuck. One moment, you are filled with enthusiasm. The next, you are doubting yourself. But just like a passing storm, emotions come and go. The key is to remind yourself in the heat of the moment that what you are feeling is not permanent. It is temporary and it will pass. 2. Detach feeling from action. Just because you feel like quitting doesn't mean you should quit. Just because you feel angry doesn't mean you should react with anger. Just because you feel discouraged doesn't mean you should stop moving forward. The strongest people are not those who never feel negative emotions. They are the ones who feel them and still choose the right action anyway. Think about the most successful athletes, entrepreneurs, and leaders. Do you think they feel motivated every single day? Do you think they wake up excited every morning? No, but they have trained themselves to move forward no matter how they feel. They understand that emotions are unreliable decision makers, so they rely on discipline instead. 0.3. Shift your focus. Your emotions are directly tied to what you focus on. If you focus on what's going wrong, you will feel overwhelmed. If you focus on what you cannot control, you will feel powerless. If you focus on past failures, you will feel stuck. But if you shift your focus to solutions instead of problems, to what you can control instead of what you can't, to opportunities instead of obstacles, you will begin to feel different. Your mind is like a camera, and whatever you zoom in on will become your reality. If you keep focusing on the negative, your emotions will reflect that. But if you train yourself to focus on progress, even if it's small, you will start to feel empowered. 0.4, control your physiology. Most people don't realize that their emotions are directly connected to their physical state. If you slouch, breathe shallowly, and carry yourself with low energy, your emotions will follow. But if you stand tall, take deep breaths, and move with purpose, your emotions will shift. Try this. The next time you are feeling unmotivated, instead of sitting still, get up, move, change your posture, speak with more energy. You will notice that your emotions begin to change because the way you use your body influences the way you feel. 0.5. Create a new internal dialogue. What you say to yourself matters. If you constantly tell yourself, I can't handle this is too hard, or I'll never figure it out, your emotions will reflect those words. But if you train yourself to say, I am in control, I will find a way, or I can handle anything that comes my way, your emotions will shift in response. The most successful people have mastered their self-talk. They don't wait to feel confident, they speak confidence into existence. They don't wait to feel strong. They tell themselves they are strong, and eventually they believe it. 0.6. Learn to pause. Most emotional reactions happen in an instant. Someone says something and you react. A challenge appears and you panic. But what if you paused? What if, instead of reacting, you gave yourself a moment to breathe, to think, to choose your response? A simple pause can be the difference between saying something you regret and responding with wisdom. It can be the difference between giving up and pushing through. The ability to pause is one of the most powerful tools in emotional mastery. 0.7, make emotional mastery a daily practice. Like any skill, emotional control must be practiced. You don't just wake up one day and suddenly have complete control over your emotions. It is something you build over time. Every day, you will be given opportunities to practice. Someone will test your patience, something unexpected will happen, an obstacle will appear. These moments are not problems, they are training grounds. Emotional mastery is not about never feeling negative emotions. It is about training yourself to respond differently when they show up. It is about becoming the kind of person who remains steady, focused, and in control, no matter what life throws your way. In a world that constantly demands attention, rewards loudness, and glorifies instant reactions, silence has become underrated. People believe that strength is in the response, in proving a point, in winning an argument, in reacting swiftly to every challenge. But real strength isn't found in reaction. It is built in silence. It is built in restraint. It is built in the moments where you choose not to engage, not to lash out, not to allow the world to dictate your every move. Consider the most powerful individuals in history, leaders, visionaries, and thinkers who changed the course of time. They were not the ones who reacted emotionally to every situation. They were the ones who observed, calculated, and chose their responses carefully. They understood that silence is not weakness. It is the ultimate form of control. Because when you stop reacting, you start leading. Now, why do most people struggle with this concept? Because we live in an age of immediate gratification. Social media has trained people to respond instantly. Someone posts something controversial, and within seconds there is outrage. Someone says something offensive, and before even thinking, people jump into the argument. It's become a habit. React first, think later. But the problem with reacting without thinking is that you are no longer in control. You are simply a puppet being pulled by the strings of external circumstances. But strength is different. Strength is found in the ability to hold back, to pause, to allow time to pass before choosing a response. It is the ability to listen without needing to immediately defend. It is the ability to endure without seeking validation. Strength is knowing when silence is the better answer, when patience is more powerful than aggression, when walking away is the wiser move than engaging in unnecessary battles. Think about nature for a moment. The strongest forces in nature do not make the most noise. The ocean does not announce when a storm is coming. It simply moves. The mountains do not shake for attention. They simply stand tall. The most powerful animals do not waste energy in pointless fights. They conserve their strength, using it only when necessary. The same principle applies to life. The strongest people do not waste energy reacting to every small thing. They choose where to place their focus. Silence builds strength through self-control. One of the greatest indicators of strength is self-retreat. And self-retreat is only developed through discipline, through the ability to remain calm when others are panicking, to remain steady when others are unstable. The moment you learn to control your emotions, instead of letting them control you, you become unstoppable. Most people assume that strength is about overpowering others, but true strength is about overpowering yourself. Mastering your own impulses, your own need to react, your own desire to prove something to the world. The strongest individuals do not waste time explaining themselves to those who will never understand. They do not chase after approval. They do not react to every opinion. They simply move forward, letting their actions speak louder than words ever could. Think of the most successful people in any field, business, sports, leadership, or art. They are not the ones who constantly respond to critics. They are the ones who stay focused on their mission. While others argue, they work. While others seek attention, they build. While others waste energy reacting, they conserve energy creating. This is the difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck. The ability to prioritize long-term vision over short-term reaction. Is a trap? Silence is power. Most people do not realize that constant reaction is a trap. It keeps them distracted. It pulls them into unnecessary conflicts. It drains their energy. It prevents them from seeing the bigger picture. And worst of all, it gives power to the very thing they are reacting to. Think about it. The moment you react emotionally to something, you have already lost control. You have given that person, that event, that comment, power over you. They are dictating how you feel. They are influencing your emotions. They are controlling your mind. But when you choose silence, when you choose not to react, you take back that power. You refuse to be controlled. You refuse to give away your energy to things that do not serve you. Behaviors struggle with this because they feel that silence means weakness, that not reacting means they are letting something slide. But silence is not weakness, it is strategy. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every opinion needs a response. Not every situation deserves your energy. The most successful people understand this. They know that the strongest response is sometimes no response at all. Patience and resilience are forged in silence. Strength is not just about physical power, it is about patience. It is about endurance, it is about resilience. And these things are not developed in reaction, they are developed in silence. In moments of difficulty, where you choose to endure instead of complain, to persist instead of seek sympathy, to work instead of prove a point. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to build this kind of strength. When someone disrespects you, you have two choices: react emotionally or remain composed. When life throws an obstacle in your path, you can either panic or stay steady. When people doubt you, you can either argue with them or let success be your response. Those who master silence master resilience, because silence requires patience, and patience is the foundation of all great achievements. The most disciplined individuals are the ones who have learned to sit with discomfort, to endure temporary setbacks without reacting impulsively, to trust the process even when nothing seems to be happening. Silence separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. If you observe the majority of people, you will notice that they are reactive. They argue over small things. They waste time on meaningless conflicts. They let external circumstances control their emotions. They are constantly seeking validation, constantly explaining themselves, constantly trying to prove something. And in doing so, they weaken themselves. They become emotionally exhausted, mentally distracted, and physically drained. But those who understand the power of silence operate differently. They do not seek validation because they already know their worth. They do not waste time arguing because they are too busy building. They do not react to every challenge because they have trained themselves to choose their battles wisely. They have learned that not everything requires a response, not everything deserves their energy, and not everything is worth their attention. And because of this, they stand out. While the majority reacts, they remain composed. While the majority wastes time, they move with purpose. While the majority lets emotions control them, they control their emotions. And that is what makes them unstoppable. Setbacks are inevitable. No matter who you are, no matter how talented, prepared, or disciplined you may be, life will throw obstacles in your way. A business deal will fall through. A relationship will end. A project you poured your heart into will fail. The question is not whether you will face setbacks. The question is what you will do when they happen. Most people see setbacks as the end of the road. They see failure as permanent, as proof that they are not good enough, as a reason to give up. But the most successful people, the ones who achieve extraordinary things, see setbacks differently. They see them as setups. They understand that every obstacle carries within it the potential for a greater opportunity. They do not ask, why did this happen to me? Instead, they ask, how can I use this? This mindset shift changes everything, because when you begin to see setbacks as setups, you stop feeling like a victim of circumstance. You stop believing that failure is the end of the story. You begin to recognize that setbacks are not there to destroy you. They are there to prepare you, to refine you, to shape you into the person who is ready for the next level. Setbacks are lessons in disguise. Most people do not realize that failure is one of the best teachers. A setback reveals things that success often hides. It forces you to evaluate, to reflect, to make adjustments. It teaches you what works and what doesn't. It gives you clarity that you may not have had before. Think about a time when you experienced a setback. Maybe you lost a job, and at first it felt like everything was falling apart. But looking back, maybe that job was holding you back. Maybe it forced you to develop new skills, to think differently, to explore opportunities you never would have considered otherwise. The most successful people in history faced massive setbacks before their greatest breakthroughs. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper job because they said he lacked creativity. Oprah Winfrey was told she was unfit for television. The list goes on. If these people had viewed their setbacks as the end, they never would have achieved greatness. But instead, they used their failures as setups for something greater. Setbacks build resilience. If everything in life came easily, there would be no strength in overcoming, no depth in character, no appreciation for success. Setbacks test your endurance. They separate those who are truly committed from those who are only interested. Because when things go wrong, most people quit. They assume that difficulty is a sign to stop. But in reality, setbacks are a test to see how badly you really want it. Think about a champion fighter. If they only ever fought weak opponents, they would never get stronger. It is the losses, the tough battles, the painful training that transforms them into champions. The same principle applies to life. The challenges you face are not there to break you, they are there to strengthen you. Every time you overcome a setback, you develop resilience. You prove to yourself that you can handle adversity. You learn that pain is temporary, but growth is permanent. And the more setbacks you overcome, the more confidence you build. You stop fearing failure because you understand that it is just another step towards success. Setbacks force you to innovate. Sometimes, the best opportunities arise from what seems like the worst setbacks. When something doesn't work out the way you planned, it forces you to think differently, to adjust your strategy, to innovate. Consider the story of Steve Jobs. In 1985, he was forced out of Apple, the very company he co-founded. Most people would have seen that as a devastating failure, but Jobs used that setback as a setup. He started a new company, Next, and acquired Pixar. Those experiences ultimately led him back to Apple, where he transformed it into one of the most successful companies in the world. Had he never faced that setback, he might not have had the experiences that led to his greatest success. This is true in all areas of life. A failed business can teach you how to build a stronger one. A broken relationship can help you understand yourself better and prepare you for a better partnership. A rejection can redirect you towards something greater. When you shift your mindset from seeing setbacks as obstacles to seeing them as redirections, everything changes. How to turn setbacks into setups. Reframe the narrative. The way you interpret a setback determines what happens next. Instead of saying, this is the end, say, this is a new beginning. Instead of thinking, I failed, ask, what can I learn? Every situation has a perspective that either empowers you or weakens you. Choose the perspective that helps you move forward. Analyze what went wrong. Every setback contains valuable information. Was there something you could have done differently? What lessons can you take from the experience? Success is not just about moving forward blindly. It's about learning from each step. Adjust your strategy. If something didn't work, change your approach. The most successful people are not the ones who never fail. They are the ones who keep adapting until they find what works. Be flexible. Be willing to pivot. Stay in motion. A setback only becomes permanent if you stop. The key is to keep moving, even if progress feels slow, even if you're uncertain. Forward motion is always better than standing still. Action creates momentum. Use the setback as fuel. Some of the greatest comebacks in history were fueled by setbacks. When Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team, he didn't quit. He trained harder. When J.K. Rowling was rejected by multiple publishers, she didn't give up. She kept writing. Let your setbacks be the reason you work harder, think bigger, and push further. Trust the process. Growth is often uncomfortable. Success is rarely a straight path. The setbacks you face today may be the very things that prepare you for what's coming next. Have faith that every challenge is shaping you into the person you need to become. Most people do not see the value in their setbacks until much later. They look back and realize that what felt like a failure was actually a turning point. That what seemed like the worst moment of their life was actually the setup for their greatest achievement. The key is to recognize this truth while you are in the setback, not just afterward. Because once you do, you no longer fear obstacles. You no longer see failure as the end. You understand that every challenge, every disappointment, every setback is simply setting you up for something greater. Winners are not just those who cross the finish line first, who build the biggest businesses, or who stand in the spotlight of success. Winners are those who carry themselves like champions long before the world recognizes them. They are the ones who walk with confidence even when they haven't yet achieved their goals, who think and act like success is inevitable, who embody a mindset of victory before they ever taste the rewards. Most people wait until they achieve something before they start acting like winners. They think, once I make more money, I'll be confident. Once I get the promotion, I'll take myself seriously. Once I have proof that I'm successful, I'll act like it. But that's backward thinking. Winners don't wait for success to act like winners. They act like winners. And that is precisely why success comes to them. Winning starts in the mind. The first place you must win is in your own mind. If you see yourself as someone who is struggling, as someone who is uncertain, as someone who is trying but not quite there yet, you will project that energy into everything you do. People can sense it. They can feel when someone lacks conviction, when someone doesn't fully believe in themselves. And the world reflects back to you what you project. But when you carry yourself like a winner, before the world even sees you as one, everything starts to shift. You move differently. You speak with more certainty. You make decisions with confidence instead of hesitation. You stop second-guessing yourself. And people respond to that energy. They respect it. They are drawn to it. This is why the most successful people seem to have an aura about them. It's not just because of what they've achieved. It's because of how they think, how they walk, how they approach every challenge. They don't carry themselves like people who are trying to win. They carry themselves like people who have already won, even when they're still in the process of getting there. Posture and presence matter. How you present yourself physically is a reflection of how you see yourself internally. Watch any great leader, any athlete, any high-level performer. They don't slouch. They don't shuffle their feet. They don't avoid eye contact. They stand tall. They move with purpose. They own the space they're in. This isn't just about appearances. It's about psychology. Studies have shown that body language affects confidence. When you carry yourself with strong posture, with your shoulders back and your head held high, Your mind follows. You begin to feel more powerful. You begin to believe in yourself more, and others see it too. Winners walk into a room and people notice, not because they demand attention, not because they are the loudest, but because they exude an unshakable presence. They don't fidget. They don't hesitate. They command respect without needing to ask for it. How you speak determines how you are perceived. Winners do not speak like victims. They do not complain. They do not use weak language. Pay attention to how people talk, and you will quickly see the difference between those who carry themselves like winners and those who do not. People who lack confidence speak in uncertainty. They say things like, I think I might be able to, I'm not sure if I can, I'll try, but we'll see. A winner speaks with clarity. I will make this happen. I know I can do this. This is what I'm doing. There is no hesitation in their words. They do not seek approval for their decisions. They do not look to others for reassurance. They state their intentions with certainty, and that certainty influences how others see them. Even when they are unsure of something, they do not let doubt rule their language. They ask questions with confidence. They seek answers with conviction. They do not belittle themselves with phrases like, this is probably a stupid question, or I don't really know much about this. They own their curiosity. They own their learning process. They speak like someone who is meant to be in the room. Winners take ownership of their actions. There is a distinct difference between winners and those who struggle. Winners take full responsibility for their lives. They do not blame external circumstances. They do not make excuses. They do not wait for someone else to give them permission. If something goes wrong, they own it. If they fail, they analyze it and adjust. They never sit around feeling sorry for themselves, waiting for things to change. They take action, they move forward. Losers blame. They blame the economy, they blame their boss, they blame their upbringing, they blame the government. Winners do not waste time with blame because they understand a simple truth. The moment you blame something outside yourself, you give away your power. When you carry yourself like a winner, you take full control. You do not rely on luck. You do not wait for the right circumstances. You create the circumstances. You make things happen. Winners demand more from themselves. Carrying yourself like a winner is not just about confidence, it's about standards. Winners expect more from themselves. They do not settle for mediocrity. They push themselves to be better, to grow, to evolve. Look at the best athletes, the best entrepreneurs, the best leaders. They never say, that's good enough. They do not tolerate laziness in themselves. They do not accept average effort. They demand excellence, and because they demand excellence, they attract it. This is why winners seem to always have momentum. They are always improving. They are always leveling up. They are never complacent. And people respect that. People follow that. People want to be around that kind of energy. The energy you carry determines the opportunities you attract. You do not get opportunities by begging for them. You do not earn respect by asking for it. You attract opportunities and respect by the way you carry yourself. When you walk into a room with confidence, people notice. When you speak with certainty, people listen. When you move with purpose, people pay attention. The world responds to those who believe in themselves. When you carry yourself like a winner, people start to treat you like one. They start to see you as someone who is going places, as someone worth investing in, as someone who is already operating at a higher level. Success is not just about talent or luck. It's about presence. It's about mindset. It's about how you carry yourself every single day. Before you have the money, before you have the recognition, before you have the proof, winners do not wait for external validation. They validate themselves. And because of that, success becomes inevitable.